Hello everyone. I decided I'm going to start doing videos about my depression and my anxiety, but mostly focus on my depression. Last week, my best friend had tagged me in a video of another mom who I think she just had a baby, and she was struggling with postpartum, and I related to her a lot. And so watching her video helped me. I'm like, well, if I share my experiences and how I'm feeling, then even if it's just one person out there, then I could probably help them too. This video is very out of my comfort zone. It took me a lot of writing down and rewriting what I had because this is not something that I usually do. But I had read an article and it said, a good way to pull yourself out of depression is to, do face-to-face with people. And just considering everything that's going on right now, I'm like, well, I haven't really seen a lot of people. Like, I now work from home, so I'm going to start doing videos instead. That's going to be my first step. And then we'll see how everything goes from there. So if this does make it out to people who don't know me, I have 4 kids. I just had my youngest. He'll be 5 weeks on Wednesday. He's actually right here with me. And before I had him, I did struggle a lot with depression, but I was kind of in denial and I just blamed it on anxiety. And it wasn't until I was in the hospital and I took this assessment just to say how I felt. And I was like, it's no big deal because I have brought up my depression and anxiety to doctors before, and, they never diagnosed me with anything. So anyway, I do that assessment and they come back and they said, you scored pretty high. They're like, we're glad that you don't have any thoughts of self-harm, but you did still score pretty high and we want you to talk to the psychiatrist. I don't see a psychiatrist now, but I do see a therapist. And the OB that I see, she put me on sertraline, which is Zoloft, basically. I started off on a 50 milligram dose, and then just last week she switched it to 100 milligram. I'm only going on 4 weeks of being on that medication. So, so far, what I feel from that, I have a very big appetite, and although I am a big person anyway, before I started taking the medicine, I did not have this gigantic appetite. And of course, I don't eat all the time, but it's kind of like I'm struggling to not eat all the time because I have this big appetite. But then it's also kind of affecting my emotions. Things that would have bothered me before, I absolutely have no emotion to that. There's just certain things that that used to bother me, and I'm just kind of like, whatever. And I know that most people probably think that it was good, but sometimes you do need to feel emotions towards certain things. So yes, with my appointment with my doctor next week, I'm going to mention that, because things might have to be adjusted or different medicine tried or something. But anyway, as far as the way I feel with the depression, I cry a lot. This past weekend, I had got so scared with my depression because, Friday I felt fine. Sunday morning I wake up and it's just like, I felt like everything had just crashed down, and I cried a lot. And I finally vented to my husband, and he was like, I think a lot of your problem is, you have to work on yourself a lot, and you're the only one who can pull yourself out of depression, which I know that. I'm not expecting anyone else. Just some days I feel like I need a little bit extra love, and when I don't get that, it's kind of like I want to just be like, oh, well, I want someone to be there for me, and I want someone to love me more. And when I don't get that, it's like my depression causes me to feel unwanted, and like I'll be like, does my husband even want to be married to me anymore? Is he going to become annoyed with how depressed I am? And so I just feel like, okay, well, now I'm not even going to vent to him. And So, but I cry so much on Saturday, and I'm like, well, Sunday surely has to be better, because who can feel this bad 2 days in a row? Yeah, I did. And luckily on Saturday, the only one that was here was the baby, and the kids were with their grandma. But come Sunday, I'm like, okay, I have to pull myself together. I don't want my kids to see me cry. And I did hold it together, but then it gets to the point where I'm crying in the shower. And if it gets to a day where I can't get away from the kids, like the baby is cranky, or the kids just they need everything that evening, and I shower late, or I don't get to get away for a second, it's like I go to bed, and doesn't matter how tired I am, I just can't fall asleep. Or I'll have the exact opposite days where all I want to do is sleep. As soon as I wake up, I just want to go right back to bed. And I'm like, okay, how much caffeine can I possibly drink to make myself feel better? Or I just don't want to talk to people, or, this depression has got to be one of the worst feelings in the world. And I've said 1,000 times, I would never wish depression on my worst enemy. Because even if I make my list of the things that I want to do for the day and I don't get one of those things done, it's like, okay, there it plays into my anxiety and into my depression, because I'm like, okay, I let myself down. I didn't get to do this today. So one of the things that I do to help with my depression and my negative thoughts, write them down and throw them away or burn them, which burning helps a lot. Just seeing your negative thoughts go up in smoke, that does help. And then whenever a negative thought comes into my head, like I read something where it was like, if you're only thinking about something all the time, then your mind, you're never going to be able to get away from that. And with my depression, like, I'm constantly feeling like my husband is just annoyed with me because I can't get away from that feeling. So in my head, for the longest time, I was like, okay, well, you know what? Because of my depression, because I'm like this, then he must want to be with somebody else. And it was like, if that's the only thing that's going to be in my head, then I'm never going to be able to think positively about my marriage. So I focused on keeping that out of my head. And then it gets to the point like, you're almost in a fight with yourself because something comes to your head, you're like, no, don't think that. It's like, okay, well, how long am I going to be thinking about this before I can push myself to stop thinking about this? And, I've done really good about, pushing out the negative thoughts, but some days aren't so good. And so I just feel like too many people push off their mental health. People, they don't take it serious. They think, okay, if I go talk to a therapist, then I'm crazy. And like I said, this is the first time I've ever talked to a therapist before, and I haven't had very many sessions with her. And of course, if I don't feel like it's working, then I will go to someone else. I keep saying, I'm not going to go back. I'm not going to go back because she's not helping and she doesn't get me. But if she doesn't get me, then I need to find someone that does get me. I need, going to a therapist doesn't mean you're crazy. Getting on medication doesn't mean that you're crazy. Too many people ignore their mental health, and then that's when bad things happen. So I made this whole list of things that I want to talk about. I'm sure this video sucks because this is my first one, and I'm so nervous. I was like, I'm gonna make this list so that I don't just ramble on. So a lot of times I save these quotes that I see on Facebook. One that I seen that says, if you are healing and breaking all at once, do not fear, this is growth, by Q Gibson. And it was like, that helped me a lot too, because I kind of just feel like no matter what I do, I don't remember how I was before I was depressed. I don't remember what I'm trying to get back to. I don't remember this happy life. I'm like, okay, how am I supposed to get back to the way I used to be if I don't remember how I was before? How am I supposed to know what I'm fighting against if I don't remember what got me there? And so that's a lot of what I'm focusing on right now, is figuring out what triggered my depression and how to get back to being my happy self. And I am one of those people that can put on a happy face, which kills me when people say, you don't seem like you're someone who's depressed. You don't seem like you have anxiety. You seem okay. Okay, am I supposed to sit down and just cry all day? I'm not. So why would I not put on a happy face? I don't want to bring other people down. So that's probably one of the biggest things that annoy me when it comes to the reactions that people give me whenever they find out that I deal with depression. Oh, you can make people laugh. Oh, you laugh. Oh, you smile. Well, no shit. I mean, what do you want people to do? Like, you want people to be able to cope? Like, I don't want to bring people down. So I'm going to get off of here for now. I'm going to try to do videos based on, like, if I'm having a bad day, talk about it. And if this does make it out to people who don't know me or people that do know me, feel free to message me. I don't know how much help I will really be to people or how good of advice I will have for you, but I know how alone that I feel. I do have my best friend who is amazing, and the people who help push me to do these videos, but I feel really alone when it comes to depression, and I don't want anyone else to feel that way, so I'm always here for everyone. If you need to talk, have a good night.